Hey everyone, this is another episode of Open Book. I am Billy Price, co-founder of Billy Footwear, and as always, we have a fantastic guest joining us today. Today, we are honored to have Amie Richards. She is the Community Outreach Manager at the Nora Project. So welcome, Amie.
Thank you so much for having me, Billy. I'm really excited to talk to you today.
Well, I am very excited to chat with you as well. The Nora Project is doing absolutely incredible things. It has a big outreach. But to bring our listeners and viewers up to speed on all that you do, could you tell us a little bit about the Nora Project?
Sure. So the Nora Project was founded in 2016. I've been with the organization for a little bit over a year now. And the mission of the Nora Project is to promote disability inclusion by empowering educators and engaging students and communities. And the way that we do that, the way that we build inclusive classrooms, which is essentially our major goal, is through curricula and engaging different organizations, but primarily teachers, administrators, in training as well, that dispels myths, dispels stereotypes, harmful attitudes that exist toward disability. And it helps students and educators alike learn about disability inclusion and disability culture. And we have in our programming, our values are just reflected in everything that we do. And those are that disability is a part of human diversity and all ways of being are to be honored and respected.
Oh man, that is so good, so needed. And there's so many things I want to ask you now, but I think to start there is when did the Nora Project come into existence?
So it came into existence in 2016, and it's currently being used in more than 70 schools across the country, as well as in Canada and the UK. And it originated in Chicagoland, in the Chicago area. We are very heavily located in Illinois. But like I said, we've spread out to many different states across the country. I myself am in Massachusetts. We span the whole continental US and even have a amazing team member out in the UK. And we are primarily focusing on schools, like I said, but we are, we've been bringing our programming to a variety of audiences. We firmly believe that disability is something that, it's been largely excluded from the conversation, largely excluded from, educational systems and curricula. And it came to be as a response to that, and as a response to the fact that disabled people for generations have been misunderstood, pitied, feared even. And the world physically and emotionally, historically excludes people with disabilities. And unfortunately, it is a fact that in schools today, many disabled students are still segregated from their peers. So what we continue to do, what we talk to educators and administrators about across the country, is the fact that we want to create spaces, especially learning spaces where children and educators, they have that inherent human right to show up at school as their authentic selves and feel a sense of belonging, and that safety, which is so important.
Well, I got to say that, I reflecting back on my, growing up and being in grade school and junior high and in high school, this program was definitely needed at that time. And it just didn't exist. And it was just a matter of, I definitely had no education whatsoever on, or my eyes being opened to the space of someone with a disability. I mean, there are people in our classes that had disabilities, but I never really had any sort of overarching, connection point to be able to, help better facilitate an environment. And so what you guys are doing, oh my gosh, I wish I could go back in time and be in that space after, having some empowering tools that the Nora Project provides. And I think something really is amazing is technology. I mean, being able to reach as far as you are, it's just like technology empowers the Nora Project to be able to reach audiences across the globe, and provide those tools, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so much of what you just said is so true. I myself wish that I could go back. I'm disabled from birth, and having a physical disability and growing up at at a time when it wasn't talked about. It wasn't talked about at home. It wasn't talked about in school. And I think back to our co-founder, the Nora Project's co-founder, and she talked so much about what does that tell you, right? Like the lack of education, the lack of conversation about disability, that speaks volumes. We're ignoring it, and that tells people to ignore it, right? And as we know, that's harmful. That's incredibly harmful to so many people. And right, I mean, the fact that we are able to reach so many different classrooms, so many different audiences through this program, or through our programs. It's been amazing to kind of watch, even just this 1 year I've been here, to see how far we've grown, and kind of just the depth of our programming and the impact it's had is really wonderful.
Wow. Well, I think right now, the next question I want to ask you is how people find you. And what I'm going to do is I'm up on the screen. I'm going to talk about I'll highlight the social links as well as the website. But parallel to this, like I would love to have you talk about, I mean, obviously this is how people find you, like great ways to get resources, but how are you getting the word out? I mean, are the teachers out there talking about the Nora Project and just encouraging others, or is it more prospecting on your point? Because what you guys done is amazing, but I'm sure there's so much more work to be done.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly a little bit of everything. We have, I'm fielding inquiries every week from educators, and most of the time they have received some sort of personal recommendation from a former, educator that's used the program, or a parent of a student that has used the program. And we are, obviously we're trying to expand our reach. So we're trying to engage in, opportunities like this one, which is, phenomenal, in, anything that we can do to kind of amplify our message, is so incredible. And like you said, you have the our socials up on the screen, our website, and I would love to draw people's attention to our web store. So it would be the same website, the noraproject.ngo/web store, and that is where you can just get a sense of all of our programming. And I'd love to give a little bit more detailed information if that's okay as well, so people kind of know
Please.
what they can look for and what they can find there. So specifically what we offer are, first of all, disability inclusion informed social emotional learning curricular units. These are units for pre-K through 12th grade. Everything that we offer is created by a collective of professionals, includes people with lived disability experience, but also classroom experience and advanced degrees in the fields. And they range from, hands-on, activity-based, really fun, game-oriented programs, all the way through, the foundational information about the disability studies, about disability, inclusion, and the disability movements and culture and history and everything. And then we also, and this is honestly a really wonderful starting point for a lot of groups, that maybe, if curriculum and that approach is not quite where we're at, or quite not quite applicable, I guess we could say, the professional learning area is really phenomenal. We offer a couple of different options, one being courses that you can take on a digital platform that we offer. It can be done asynchronously, which is just, it makes it really accessible to so many different working professionals. Educators especially are just so busy right now. We know that there's just so much pressure on schools, and we want to make sure that we're setting teachers up for success, and setting them up in an environment where they are, they feel comfortable learning this information, kind of, maybe even, interrogating their own personal, beliefs or misconceptions or anything that we might have, no matter your background, no matter your, where you are. We want to meet our, audience where they are, and be on that journey with you. And the last way that we do that is through virtual webinars, live virtual webinars. We have a webinar that is amazing for learning, like I said, that foundational, really crucial, information on disability history and disability, the models of disability. And we also have presentation that is really geared toward families, caregivers, talking genuinely, how do you talk about disability with children? And they're all amazing, amazing opportunities. One of our programs actually really reminds me of you and your story, and connects with like the amazing problem solving and adaptation that, like, just looking at, knowing what I know about you and your story and your amazing shoes, which I have a pair being delivered tonight and I'm really excited about it. But yeah, I was really excited to kind of tell you about that program, because I just feel like it, ties in so well with you and your story.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
That was STEM, right?
STEMpathy. Yeah. So we combine STEM with empathy, being a major, kind of topic, throughout all of our programs. But it's this really phenomenal program for middle school and high school students, and they are encouraged to really interrogate their surroundings, find something in the, environment, whether it's the physical environment of their school, the cultural environment of their school, and find something that they can improve upon and make it more inclusive. We've had so many really different projects that kids have taken on. Excuse me. And it's been really, really impactful. And the, when the students and the educators kind of come out of this program, they report just feeling like this was a new, it gave them such a new outlook that they didn't have before. And again, like, no matter your background, even if I were to go and take that course, I feel like I would, I still would have walked away with something. And so it's just a wonderful kind of way for, it's a collaborative approach to, just to bettering our schools and our environments, our classrooms and everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to me, the word that just comes to mind is community, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything about it. I mean, as educators, I mean, I'm not an educator, but I know that in that space, I mean, you're driven to empower, and it's educators can empower educators, and our kids in the classrooms, they are also teaching us. So if we're able to provide tools to whoever, collectively, as a community, we're going to make the community better. So with the Nora Project, being able to empower parents, empower teachers, empower administrators of those schools, to be able to, have tools to talk about what could be like more challenging conversations, but also to raise awareness of the importance of having more inclusive space. I mean, it's just it's just an absolute beautiful picture. And I love that. And I mean, thank you so much for talking about this empathy and like tying that to our story. I mean, for those out there who don't know my story, I broke my neck when I was a teenager. And when that happened, a lot of things in my world changed. And there were a lot of things I used to be able to do that I could no longer do. And putting on shoes is one of those deals. So that was basically the inspiration that brought Billy Footwear to life, just being able to create something I could put on independently. But it was also a matter of trying to create something bigger that would work for everybody, kind of level that playing field and create something more of a universal design in an inclusive space. So to be able to give the next generation, of kids, to put them in the driver's seat and pose challenges, going like, here's a situation, or maybe they're observing some sort of situation, and we give them the tools somehow to be able to help problem solve that. I mean, that just excites me, and I think that drives a lot of passion with all educators.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm so excited for your virtual field trip with us next week. That's one of the other amazing things that we do with our programming partners. They have the opportunity to participate in a virtual field trip. So you'll be, speaking in front of potentially hundreds of kids, I hope, so many different classrooms across the country. They'll be hearing about your story, and, we try to not try to, but we do amplify the voices of disabled artists, entrepreneurs, business owners, advocates, all sorts of leaders, and just bring that conversation right into the classroom. And we know that these conversations happen outside of school as well, so that's that is why we really we want to be empowering everyone. We want to be empowering parents to talk about it. We want to be empowering, our kids to be talking about disability and inclusion. And
well,
so we're super
Amie,
excited.
well, thank you. I'm really excited for that presentation as well. And, to drive this back to the website, the noraproject.ngo, just looking at this, looking at your staff, looking at your board, looking at just the advocates on that site. The list goes on and on and on of very, like, not only passionate individuals, but influential individuals that are just from all walks of life. Just the level of participation and the support of like raising this awareness and helping to facilitate this conversation on a global level is just amazing. So everyone out there that's listening, if you're a parent, if you're an educator, like whatever, I really encourage you to check this out, the noraproject.ngo, because it's something that I didn't know about. It's something I wish we would have had. Amie, just to really like kind of echo your words earlier, I wish I would have had this like in school earlier on, because it just feels like there was a big hole in our education system at that point. And you guys are helping filling that. So absolutely amazing.
Yeah, definitely. And our two focuses are the disability, inclusion conversation, and also the social emotional learning piece. That is such a huge topic of conversation. It's something that a lot of schools are doing, but what we are finding and what is being reported to us by our educators is that that's where those other SEL curricula are falling short, is they leave out the disability conversation. And so with weaving it in, we're able to really, amplify that impact that we're having. So, I'm really excited to have more conversations. That's my job. What I do every day is I have conversations with people about the awesome things we're doing. And I'm just so proud to be a part of this team, and to see how far we reach. And the more impacts that we can have. I'm really excited to see where we go.
Yeah. Well, one quick thing, for those not familiar with that term, SEL, could you explain that acronym?
Yes, the social emotional learning, SEL. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Teachers, we love our acronyms.
Well, Amie, this was awesome. Thank you. It's just such an honor to have you on the show. I want to be respectful of your time, but before we sign off and wave goodbye to our guests here for this episode, I just wanted to give you another opportunity to share whatever's on your heart.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much again for having me. This is really exciting. Like I said, having these conversations, it is my job, but it's also my passion, and it's just really wonderful. And I guess my final kind of message would be to welcome you to really push back on the misinformation about disability that exists. And to really question the continued systemic segregation of students in our school system, and we can start our conversation there.
Absolutely, absolutely awesome. So everyone out there, again, check out the Nora Project on Facebook. Their handle is the Nora Project. On Instagram, it is the Nora Project NGO, and then on the website, it is the noraproject.ngo. Amie, thank you so much again for your time.
Thank you, Billy.
Everyone out there, this was another episode of Open Book. I hope you learned something, and I hope you enjoyed it. We'll have another episode of Open Book again real soon. So until then, take care.
Bye.